And we are live on YouTube.
Pre-gaming right now.
Oh yeah, with Johnny Jalopy's wall. Look at his wall.
Johnny Jalopy's wall of art.
It's a beautiful
Some
wall.
really cool drawings behind him back there.
Yes, indeed.
And looks like a vintage Return of the Jedi lunchbox. Very cool.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I think I'm not even gonna be interested in talking to him about his artwork. I just want to talk about that lunchbox. It's a great lunchbox.
I know, right? If he's had it since he was a kid, or if he
just set it out for today.
He was on eBay earlier today, and
that's right.
Picked it up today.
Yes, indeed. I think Rob. I think you're gonna be proud of me with this drink I got today. Either you're gonna be proud of me, or you're gonna be really concerned with me. I don't know. It's an interesting one I've got.
It's fine with me. I'm gonna be proud of you. I know it.
I appreciate that. It looks like we have two people watching. I'm sure one of them is me. Is the other one you, Rob?
We won't tell Johnny who's watching.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell him.
Hey, there he is.
I'm back.
Johnny, we have not started the show yet, but we did go live on YouTube, so you are on air. Yes, indeed. So we're gonna get things started here and just say, Rob, do you have everything all queued up and ready to go?
I have everything queued up and ready to go. I'm very excited.
Start hitting record on Audacity.
Oh yes, I did not go up. I will right now record. All right.
You ready, Rob?
I'm ready. You ready, Johnny? You ready?
Rock and roll, man.
All right, here we go. Right. Check out Nick's awesome work here. Intro music.
Wait, that's not it.
What? He's no good to me, Dad.
Intro music. Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
You know, it is complicated, but we're getting better and better at it week by week, aren't we, Rob?
We're trying. The only thing that we're having problems with now is actually getting our guests on the show. We have to actually invite them to the show. We found out they can't just magically show up. So we have a special guest this week, which I am very excited about, me personally.
Yeah, Rob's been fanboying it out all week. He's very excited. By the way, before we get into our guest, maybe we should mention we are Banter, Beskar, and Banthamilk. Right? We are a Mandalorian podcast, Banthamilk Podcast, coming back at you once again. And as Rob mentioned, we are graced with our presence right down here if you're watching us on YouTube or over there. I don't know. Maybe it's different on everyone else's screen. But this is Johnny Jalopy. Johnny Jalopy, who Rob introduced me to the name of Johnny Jalopy recently, and I got to tell you, I've been looking at some of your work. I'm really excited to have you on. Welcome, my friend.
Well, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
No problem.
We have a lot of questions for Johnny. Johnny is an artist. Johnny is a very specific style of artist. He has a very specific style of art, as evidenced by his name, and we do want to talk all about it. And of course, we are a Star Wars podcast, and there's a reason we had him on. But before we get into all that, I think it's important that we jump into the Banthamilk portion of our show, and Rob's going to be very, very proud of me this time. Johnny, I usually drink whiskey. I'm a bourbon drinker, which, is great. I love bourbon, but, I should probably branch out. Plus, I'm out of whiskey. So today I am drinking Southern Tier Brewing Company. Have y'all ever heard Southern Tier Brewing Company?
No.
I have not, no.
I had never before. We tried this the other day. It's pretty good. It is a Strawberry Dream Milkshake IPA.
Oh, milkshake IPA. There you go.
So
that'll
awesome.
be one.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm gonna do a Rob here. Rob, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. There he goes.
Rob, what do you got today, man?
I'm going back to one of our good old favorites, the 21st Amendment Hell or High Watermelon.
All right.
It's a very good drink. Johnny, since you don't know, we are under the umbrella of these other podcasts, this Ears Up company, Ears Up Podcast, which they're a Disney parks podcast, but they're also sponsored by the 21st Amendment. They're out in California. You've taken a couple trips out there, I think.
Yeah, a few.
Few, yes. So they're out there. So they're sponsored by the 21A up in San Francisco. So I was trying to support them by drinking one of my own. So there's my 21A right there for you.
Love that sound. And Johnny, what do you got, my friend? What are you drinking?
Well, I don't have a kush sound. I'll do it. Kush.
It sounds delicious.
Good old rum and a little ginger ale.
There you go.
Sounds tiki
good.
Mug.
It's a beautiful thing. Gentlemen,
Innovator Tiki Mug. Cheers.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.
I got to tell you, this milkshake IPA is an interesting taste for sure. But anyway,
Is it?
Yeah, talk to us in a couple hours when that starts running through you.
Yes, that's for sure.
it's going to be an interesting evening for sure. But before we get into all things Johnny Jalopy and his amazing artwork, I'm a huge fan so far. We do want to make sure that everyone knows where they can get a hold of us because we're all over the place on social media. So it's about time for us to tell you where to find us.
Yes, and we're so fancy, Johnny, that we can do this whole segment without even moving our lips. Watch what we do here. Maybe watch now.
We can just
now
drink.
Hey,
watch.
if you're interested in more Star
Yes.
Wars info, want to chat, or even want to send us some Star Wars drink recipes, please be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms. You can catch us on Instagram and Facebook at Banthamilk Podcast, Twitter at Banthamilk. You can email us at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com, or even check out our website, banthamilkpodcast.com.
And don't forget to check out our sister podcast over at the Ears Up Network. Our friends over at Ears Up help us a whole lot. So give them and their many shows a listen. Their shows include Ears Up in Depth, The Supreme Resort, and Scraping the Vault. Also be sure to check out their Patreon at patreon.com/ears with a Z up. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support our show. Any donations sent their way directly help us here at Banthamilk Podcast and comes with great perks. So please check them out today.
The eventual
All right,
goal
there we go.
of that, by the way, is for us to get to an entire podcast length of episodes without me having to say a word. Right?
That's right.
So we're slowly inching closer and closer to that. So
We're
I
going
appreciate
to
you
pre-record our entire podcast episode. So
That's right.
Yeah, so we don't want to take up too much more of your time. We have a whole segment called Star Wars News. We're going to do that after we interview you because we don't want to, keep you all night long.
But we have our man over the hour here, right?
But we have the man of the
We
hour.
need to know more about Johnny, right? So
Yes.
first of all, tell us about yourself, Johnny. What if you had to describe your medium, describe what you do to someone who has never heard of you? How would you say? What's your vibe? What are you into?
It's basically old school hot rod art is what I would describe it as. Kind of the old throwback to the Ed Roth days, the Ed Newton, the old hot rod guys. I don't know. As a kid, I grew up reading Cartoons magazine, and a lot of my favorite artists that I've actually gotten to know. Some of them have passed away, and I didn't get to meet. But yeah, that's what I would describe it. Old school hot rod art.
It's
Very
awesome.
cool.
And you can
Very
see a
cool.
whole bunch of his artwork. If you're catching us on YouTube right now, you can see a whole bunch of it on his wall behind him right now. And it is really just killer. The stylization, it's got a very specific aesthetic to it. It's really cool stuff.
Well, thanks so
It's
much.
very cool.
Appreciate it.
And
man.
there's two very special ones behind you. One, I'm going to ask you a lot more about the number 5 one, the Johnny 5 one.
Okay,
back
yeah,
there.
that's the one that started it all. Really, kind of put a jump start to people knowing who the heck I am.
Yeah, well, that's how I found you, definitely. So that one is super cool. And also the Darth Vader one that you have back there, that one also is super cool. Both Nick and I spent the week rewatching over and over again your Facebook Live watches on that particular drawing. Should have jumped tremendously this week because I think I watched it about 10 times already.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
So you call those you call those sketchy live, huh?
Sketchy Live.
Yeah, so every Monday night, my wife and I, it really started off, the whole Sketchy Live thing was as a way for me to learn how to draw faster.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was thinking about going to car shows and stuff, and it would take me, a couple hours to lay something down, and it would still look kind of a little sketchy. But I was like, man, I got to get faster. And I saw one or two guys that were doing almost like tutorial videos of drawing.
Okay.
So I convinced my wife. I said, hey, you know what if we do like almost a live drawing? You sit on one side, read to me what people are asking questions about and comments. And it's progressively turned into almost a podcast itself.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's almost her and I back and forth with a little bit of drawing in between.
Well, look, I love it. I love
appreciate
the banter that the two of you have. Your great connection on your show.
We're all about
You
banter
guys-
here.
All about banter. We love bantering. So the fact that you guys are doing the same thing and bantering a lot as well, it's totally awesome. So how long have you guys been married? Because your connection there is awesome.
Man. Now you're asking.
Oh, I put you on the
You
spot.
get him
She's
in
right
trouble,
there. She
man.
knows.
She's sitting
Great.
right there
Yeah.
feeding him all
Yeah,
the
she's
lines.
right
right?
there.
Itty bitty, come
So
on in.
funny.
We want to
Here,
see you
Itty
as
Bitty.
well.
They're
Yeah,
asking
get in
me.
here.
Kiski over
I
here.
want to see the.
Listen,
I
this
wanna
is
see
there
the
she
famous
is.
itty bitty. Hello, itty bitty.
Hey,
She was
There
waiting
she
for
is.
Wings just to jump in anyways.
Jeez, I saw a
Welcome.
shadow.
welcome. We're so glad to see you here.
Nice to meet
Itty
you.
bitty.
That's
Listen,
it.
we've
It's
had
awesome.
special guests
Cheers, right?
before, but we've never had
Cheers.
secret special guests that we didn't know were going to be here. So how long have you two been married?
9 years.
9 years. It feels like
Awesome.
Together
It feels-
for 13, though. We waited.
Okay.
Wow.
yeah.
Okay,
We did.
see, that's interesting because my wife and I our anniversary's coming up in May. We've been together almost 8 years, and we've been together for 13 years. So just about.
Aha. That's
about the same time
the
right there. I knew there was
Yeah.
something there.
Yeah.
There was something going on there. But yeah, I mean, your interplay between each other during your sketchy lives is great. And you know, if it were just maybe Johnny sketching, I'm sure people would watch. But you know, having that, you know, people like to feel like they're a part of the conversation and feel like they're interacting with you. And I do think
For
it's
sure.
cool. You know,
Right.
especially that Darth Vader one behind you that I was watching recently. You know, there were a couple times where, you know, some of your watchers were throwing out some Star Wars references, some Spaceballs references, and to have you relaying that off of each other was great. It's a great, it makes for a great show, especially if you're someone who's interested in, you know, it can be a wide variety of things, whether it's someone interested in art, interested in automotives, interested in a lot of the nerd stuff you talk about, which I want to talk about a little later too. So it's just a really cool kind of umbrella you've managed to capture.
Yeah, it's become, well, like I said, it's become less about the drawing part of it. It's fun. Should I grab you a chair?
I'm going to go. I just leave it there.
This is- This is so like.
This is understandable.
See, the reality is, you just found out. It started off where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do some drawing. Just read me the comments. Then the next thing I know, she's bought microphones. She's like, "What are you doing? A second camera?"
No, I didn't.
No,
Listen, if you're
and there's
gonna
that
do
laugh.
it, you got to do it
It's
right.
so appreciable, and it's just so natural. I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, how do you know, like you guys, how do you grow your podcast? How do you grow more viewership? And I was like, more and more comments were coming about Itty B and not less about the drawing, but definitely a lot about Itty B.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, you need to be way more a part of this.
Yeah.
We need you to be asking questions. And then we just started going into just the way we talk to each other on a day-to-day basis. And it's just grown
A
us.
lot of eye rolling.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's
Well,
very
you can't
natural.
see all that
It's awesome.
necessarily, so
Yeah.
It's
it doesn't
coming.
make it to the video.
It's coming because you're missing a bunch.
Okay.
Well, you need an itty bitty cam. That's what you need. You
Yeah.
need just a camera
Yes.
right on her face.
Oh, that's a
Right
great
up the
idea.
top
The
corner.
itty bitty cam,
The itty bitty
Yeah.
cam, yes.
That's great.
for sure.
So it's awesome. Your banter back and forth is great. I love it. I love watching it. And I love watching you draw. It's funny with your nickname of Jalopy. Obviously, it wasn't a given name. I know your last name is Wood, singular or
Mhm.
plural? Singular.
It's singular.
Singular,
A lot of people
just
like
Wood.
to add the S.
Yes. Well, it's like with me, my last name is Spear, but they like to add the S
Right.
like Brittany does. So they throw the Spears on there, and I'm like, nope, unfortunately,
Yeah.
not related. Yeah.
Someone in the YouTube chat just asked us to put his links in the description, and I'm going to be doing that
Oh,
this
nice.
moment. Thank you, SCOXOCS. I don't know how to say your YouTube name, but I am going to go ahead and throw all of Senor Jalopy's stuff down in our description.
Hey,
And that is
JohnnyJalopy.com is a great place to start.
boom.
Yeah,
right
you can
there,
get
right?
great swag there. You can get
Absolutely.
very good swag. I won't mention.
Yeah, you're rocking
some
the
of
hat,
this,
man.
but I'm
Great.
rocking the
Love
hat,
it.
dude. I love it.
Did you
It's
now?
even
Did you
got-
know it was Rob who ordered that hat when you sent that hat out?
I don't think so.
Probably
Because he
not.
even asked you to sign it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
you-
somebody asked me to sign something. I'm always like, really?
Bam! It's right there. Look at
Oh,
that.
nice. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
it's right
I
there.
do now.
Now you know. Yep.
Yeah.
Right after you said you would be on the show, I was like,
That was probably one of the hats that got in a box, and then she went, "Did you sign it?" And I went, "Ah, shit."
That's great.
well, it made it on there, so that's good. So that's very good.
So if I could
Is
just
it
ask
cool?
about
I just thought about that.
what's
Even
that?
it's a Disney thing. Is it all right to say a bad word or?
You'll be fine. They're
You're
not-
the guest.
Okay,
You can do
thanks,
whatever
man.
you want.
we gotta watch our mouth. You can do whatever you want, man. The SEC's not gonna
Hi,
knock on
guys.
your door.
Bye. Nice meeting you,
Great
Eddie
to
B.
have you on the show. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us, man. A special
You don't have to
guest.
crawl out. She's
It's like, ooh,
she's literally crawling out on the floor,
That's all right. She's a keeper. You got to hold on to that one. I like it.
right?
So-
I am
So
a
Johnny,
blessed man.
you mentioned these sketchy lives and that you did them in order to speed up your drawing. And one of my questions I had for you, because it does seem like these things happen so quickly, is how long does your typical sketch take you? Obviously, now it might take you shorter since you've been working on that. So how long did it used to, and how long do you feel like you need now for one of your sketches?
Now, realistically, I mean, there are some, like when I'm doing some commission work, it really depends on the job, to be honest. If I'm just doodling and doing my own thing, it can take anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple hours, really depending upon how much detail I want to put into it. But, let's go basically like a sketchy, doing something like that. On the show, I mean, you see it kind of from start of inking, kind of digital inking,
right,
to full color within, an hour and a half is, I think we almost got to an hour, 45 minutes. Some as quick as, I mean, I've knocked some out in 30 minutes and went, okay, I gotta slow down.
Slow down a little.
If you go back to the first year we did it, I was trying to just stay within an hour, and I was barely getting maybe a little bit of color, and they were very, 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 very sketchy. Not as much details now.
Okay, yeah, because they look awesome now. You're doing a good job, and especially in the time frame, it's fun to watch you guys just banter there for an hour and just watch the drawing come alive. Now, I noticed when you do it you use an iPad. Is that what you're using there?
It's actually it's a Microsoft Surface book.
Okay, a Surface. So when you start, I see you have like a pencil drawing first.
Right. So what I'll do is usually, depending upon my work schedule, I'll get home, and it's always probably about 30 minutes before we go on. I'll do a light sketch of what I want to draw. There are some nights I haven't put anything down, and I'm racing to like 15 minutes to try to get something on there that I can start with. Because in the beginning, I was starting from zero.
Okay.
Again, progressively, it was taking way too long to do a full rendering, and I felt like I was kind of cheating people. So
sure, I
started doing some pre-sketching stuff, and now it's just easier to pre-sketch and do the inking. Because again, I think it's funny is I think there's a group of people that watch for the drawing, but everybody else is there for the back and forth.
For the banter, yeah, for the back and forth.
What's the part? I love that too.
Yeah,
it's great.
And I mean, like I said, we kept watching the May 4th one from last year, and I'm sure you've done hundreds of them since then, or however many weeks it's been since then. But just listening to the two of you banter back and forth, and you talking about Star Wars movies, and then Eddie B being like, I never saw this. And you're like, how could you have not seen this show? Yeah. What about that show? And just the way you guys go back and forth, it's really great. It's awesome. So
it still amazes me on some of the stuff that she hasn't seen.
Isn't that how it always is, though? I feel like every guy with his wife just winds up, Tommy boy, you haven't seen something like that. It's always just kind of
really?
Something
you
like
haven't
that.
Seen that? Are you kidding me?
I always joke that TV raised me, because I know like everything that was on, in the early 80s and stuff like that. And I'm like, how can you have not seen this show? You don't know this show? So yeah. So you love drawing cars. So
love it.
The most important question, you got to drive a really cool car. What do you have? Like a Prius or a Camry or a Mazda?
Sure. Yeah. So I'd have more if I could, but of course I've got a daily driver that gets me back and forth to work, because I've got a 66 Volkswagen Volksrad. It's a pretty sweet little hot rod VW, and then I've got a 1951 Chevy as well.
Nice, very
so
nice.
That's my eventually. You talked about the show thing I was on. Well, I'm gonna eventually I got to convince Ian Russell to help me turn that thing into the custom that's inside here.
That would be so cool. I want to get more into you and Ian's thing, because that was so cool. But I want to get a little bit more out of you. I don't want to say I don't want you to think we bait and switched you. I did ask Johnny to come on and talk about Star Wars stuff. We will get to the Star Wars stuff, but I feel you're more interesting than Star Wars stuff. So I
don't know if that's possible, but
yeah, I think it totally is. So
every one of our Star Wars fans was like, "That's it, I'm out of here." What are these guys talking about?
What is this?
And if you check out the YouTube page, by the way, we do have the Darth Vader car hiding out in the background behind this live feed here. So
nice.
We are giving you mad props on that one as well. And the cool thing about your show, your JohnnyJalopy.com, and even the Facebook Live stuff, when you're done drawing the those drawings each week, then you sell them. You can buy prints of them and you'll ship them out to people, and which is really cool because you can be like, me as a fan, I'll be like, this is when Johnny and ADB were talking about me and blah, blah, blah. And then he was drawing this at the same time. And so it gives you something to talk about when you're hanging your art on the wall, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's really kind of what we tried to, we started seeing is a lot of folks. It's almost like, if you went to a concert and you grab that T-shirt from the concert, you go home and you're like, oh, remember that time we were at that thing? So that's really, really what it's become, is that folks are buying the print. And that's why I'm selling them as cheap as I am too, is making it totally affordable. That's been my goal from start of getting into art, is I wanted to make affordable hot rod art too, because there's plenty of guys that are selling art for thousands of dollars.
Sure,
but
yeah.
The average guy who wants to just put something up in his his wall or his man cave, or if we still use that, man cave.
Yeah, we sure do. I'm in mine right now. Yeah.
It's just an affordable way to do that. Throw it up in a garage. You're not going, oh man, I can't put that next to my project car outside because what if it gets ruined? Nah, just throw it out there. It's $20.
Just throw it out there. It's a $20 print, so it's really, really cool.
And Johnny, you mentioned that you have a car or your daily ride to work. What's your day gig?
I'm actually a retail manager.
Okay. Rock on. Well, we're teachers here, right? So everyone's got a day gig.
Over 30 years, yeah.
Rock on.
I worked retail many, many years before landing this lucrative job of being an educator.
And a podcaster.
And a podcaster.
Star podcaster, Rob.
Just like we're starving podcasters over here, so we're trying to,
I'm not starving. I almost have to chew on this milkshake IPA, man. This is thick. I like it. It's not bad.
So did you go to art school?
In 8th grade.
Okay.
I did a little art in high school, but from a little kid, my dad was an aspiring artist, and he would spend lots of times with me drawing and doodling, and then I would just watch him paint, and it always just fascinated me. I'm like, man, I'd love to be able to do that. And then my dad got sick, and he'd been trying to sell art way before he got sick, and he just never believed in his art. He always just thought no one's going to spend any money to buy my art. And he was a landscape artist. It was beautiful stuff. And so my dad got Alzheimer's, and he passed away pretty quickly once the disease took effect. And I basically made a promise to my dad on his, so cliche, on his deathbed, that I was going to do something with my art. And awesome. So from that day, Johnny Jalopy Hot Rod Art was born. And so basically every time anybody buys something of mine or shares or talks to me about my art, my dad's dream of selling his art is living.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That really is. And if you don't mind me asking, how long ago did your father pass away?
It's crazy how fast time goes. I want to say it's probably been over 13, 14 years.
Wow. So you've been working at this for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
really awesome.
I mean, that's an awesome. That not only is that awesome, but that's an awesome tribute, and that's really something, because it is tough. It's especially in the art. I'm a musician, right? So I understand how artists think of themselves and how artists are the first ones to judge themselves and the first ones
beat
to
yourself
up. So it's a tough life to lead, especially if there are. It's just I don't want to go too far into the life of an artist. I'm sure you understand. It can be a tough one. But it is at really times, awesome that you're carrying
There's
that.
There's lots of fun things like this. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So why just cars? Was your dad drawing cars also, or is that just what your thing was?
No, crazy enough, he like I said, he just did landscape stuff like ocean scenes and mountains and snow, and he not that he would copy Bob Ross, but he would watch those videos like crazy and try to better his landscape stuff. And I don't know, just something about cars. My folks used to take me to car shows, World of Wheels, when I was a kid.
Okay.
I remember seeing, probably some of the Ed Ross cars when they were, out on shows. But I remember seeing like the General Lee. And
that's awesome.
Seeing, cars like I'm brain farting here, but there was so many those old school show cars, and I just thought they were so amazing how cool they were. All lit up with fur around them, and it looked
Yeah,
like snow and everything, and it just looked so badass. I was like, man, that's really cool. And
really
as
cool.
I got older and I started learning how to, I learned how to drive. I was like, I'd really love to have an old car. So the dream came to have old cars. And then my folks asked me one Christmas, what did I want for Christmas in my 20s? I was like, give me an airbrush. I've always wanted to learn how to do that.
Okay.
And that's where it really started. I started airbrushing t-shirts, and then it went from just airbrushing like skulls and stuff. I started really focusing in on cars. And then I ditched the airbrush and went to pen and ink and stuff like that. So
very cool.
And then
cool.
I finally went digital after a little while.
So do you still like I saw when you were on the show, which we're segueing into that, but when you were on the show at one point, you did you were hand drawing the beach buggy one. You were doing it all hand drawing. So do you still do a lot of hand drawings, or do you?
Yeah. So that's the cool thing about the digital art that I do on that screen is it really is. I'm just using a technology now. The outcome is digital, of course, but the process is is the same to pencil, ink, and pen. The feel of drawing on a tablet or a screen, it's a little different, but there's a lot of similarities in it. So. But I still like to go and grab a pencil and grab an ink pen and doodle. The other night, my wife and I went to dinner, and there was some napkins, and there was 2 little kids sitting there eating with their folks. So I did a couple little card drawings and dropped the napkins off at them and took off out the door.
That's so cool. The kids don't even know that.
We'll be at dinner. And placemats, and I'll draw on a placemat and give it to the waitress. I'm like, oh my god! So
that's really so awesome. I do the same thing, but they don't have the same reaction. They just crumble it up in a ball and just throw it away. Yeah, they say, thanks for wasting my time.
That's the benefit of being a visual artist. I'm a saxophone player. I can't just play the saxophone for my waitress as I leave the restaurant. Or I guess I can.
Maybe you could.
Yeah,
you could.
Be the change you want to see in the world, right?
It's also funny to me, talking about your art in 8th grade. When I was in 5th grade, one of my friends and I, during class, we would always doodle, and we started doodling jalopies. So we would just draw these ridiculous, and of course we're in 5th grade, so we thought they were totally awesome. Like they were just mess of cars and stuff like that. Like they were just all messed up and stuff. We were like, check out this jalopy, and we would compare jalopies back and forth. So then when you were on the show and they said, Johnny Jalopy's here, I was like, oh my gosh, we must be best friends because jalopy is an awesome word.
So now, Rob, you've mentioned this show a couple times.
Yes, so let's talk about the show.
Yeah, let's talk about the show that Johnny has been a part of here.
So Johnny was on this awesome show called Full Custom Garage, and he was with
that, Johnny.
With this amazing guy, Ian Roussel. And then go ahead and tell us how you met Ian and how you got on the show.
I thought I had the DVD nearby. So I was a huge fan of actually, I'll tell you, I bought my old car and I was like, man, if I could learn how to do custom stuff, that would be great. So I started looking for like do-it-yourself DVDs and things like that. And I ran across a DVD that Ian's producer currently and him put together years before that, before the show was picked up and turned into a TV show. And it was called Back from the Dead 2. And it's where he took a 53 Chevy and did all kinds of crazy custom stuff to it. And I watched that DVD hundreds and hundreds of times. And this is back in the MySpace days. I was like, oh, Ian Roussel, I'd love to become that guy's friend. So I friend requested him back in the MySpace days and didn't get nothing back. Cut 2 years later, I'm on Facebook and I've got a little bit of a following with my art stuff. And some of the folks that follow me said, hey, man, Ian Roussel's just posted a picture of one of your drawings.
No way.
And so I go to his page. I'm not even his friend, so I, backdoor through Facebook, and it says you got to give the people what they want. And it was a picture of the Johnny 5. Of course, it wasn't color; it was just a black and white image that I had put up on the internet 4 years before he found it. It's been floating around in the internet. Some guy in Canada found it and was a client of Ian's, and contacted him and said, "Man, I want to build this thing." So he was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Well, next thing you know, about 10 minutes later, I get a message in my inbox on Messenger, and it's Ian. Hey, man, I don't know if you know who I am. Yeah, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I got this show I do where I build cars and stuff, and I I saw this drawing of yours. I'd really like to build this car. Is it cool? And I'm like, hell yeah, it's cool. Go for it.
Nah, don't worry.
Yeah.
And I said,
I'll pass.
if there's anything I can do to be a part of it, I would love even if it's pushing a broom or dusting the shop floor, just going and watching. I'd love to be a part of it. Well, he started contacting me, and he went into the full build of it, and would contact me, ask me about colors. What about the placement of the grill? Does this look right? As he's modifying the whole thing from what he started with, he would contact me almost like on a weekly basis. What do you think, man? How's this going? Do you like it? And of course, I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. And then he's like, why don't you come to California and be a part of the show? We're going to do the reveal on this date. Come down and hang out with us. I'm like, no way.
Wow.
That's so
So
cool.
I bought a plane ticket to California and showed up. They had no idea who I was. We talked to the producer after we had finished, and he's like, man, we weren't sure if you were going to be a jerk. Some guy thought, typical artist guy who thinks he knows everything. And he goes, and just the chemistry between you and Ian was like immediate. It was really good. So, next thing I know, they start calling me back for other stuff, which
for
was
other
great.
stuff. Yeah.
3 cars we built so far.
Yeah. I mean, he seems really like laid back and chill.
He's a super chill guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's very much a little different now because he got married now, which is great for him.
Okay.
And he's now he got his own place in the desert and stuff. But he was pretty much a kind of do his own thing. Didn't really want to be out in the public, but just a great guy.
Have you gotten to drive any of your cars?
What's that?
Have you gotten to drive any of your cars?
I got to drive the Space Junkie 2, which is the long, stretched out bubble top car.
Okay.
That is the only car I got to drive.
How'd you handle?
I was scared to wreck it, so I didn't drive it.
I would imagine
so. And I regret it now. That's the episode you saw me wearing the Star Wars shirt.
Yes,
right.
You were totally wearing a Star Wars shirt on that show.
Because my thought was, hey, this is a spaceship. I'm going to wear a Star Wars shirt.
And that shirt is what made Rob's cogs turn. He was like, this guy is our kind of guy. We got to get him on this show.
I was like, I'm a big car fan. I watch like every single show on Motor Trend. I have a friend that I work with. He's building a VW bus dragster.
Nice.
So all frame up, like he's bending all the tubing and stuff. He's got a friend who's a welder on nuclear submarines.
Okay.
So this guy's welding it up for him because he knows that his welds are going to be pretty good. Because if you have a bad weld on a sub, I think you're in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah. It's like screen door. Yeah.
Exactly.
On a submarine. That's right.
So I'm a huge car fan. So then seeing somebody on a car show wearing a Star Wars shirt, I was like, yo, I got to get this guy on the show. I was like,
on that same vein there, we see that Return of the Jedi lunchbox behind you. You're drinking out of a Darth Vader tiki. You've clearly got some nerd chops in you, right?
A little bit.
I was looking through your catalog, and you've got just loads of nerd-influenced drawings. You've got obviously the Vader, which is right behind you over your shoulder. You've got the Back to the Future DeLorean, which
sure.
My wife gets angry. Back to the Future is on AMC every night, basically, and I will watch it every time. You've got the Ectomobile. You've got a couple different Batmobiles. You've got the Mystery Machine. You've got the Hot Rod from American Graffiti. I mean, you've got all sorts of nerd-influenced cars going on there. Are you like, did you grow up like watching some Star Wars and stuff like that, or is it just kind of you do what people request from you?
Yeah, man. So I can remember being Star Wars: The New Hope came out 1977.
Mm-hmm.
So how old was I in 1977? Anyways, I remember standing in line at my local theater as a little kid. Well, I can't remember how old I was, but I was a little. But I remember waiting in line to watch that movie where the line was just so long and waiting hours to watch it and thinking, this is the greatest movie that's ever been made. This is so amazing.
Yeah.
The technology and all the special effects of that time for that time.
Right.
Were just amazing.
Yes.
And the way it was lit, the way it was shot. And then to go back, as you grow up and you start learning how they did miniatures and, all that technical stuff and a lot of CGI and how Lucas, did all this stuff at creating stuff that we now use for gaming and all this kind of stuff. It was a jumping off point where that movie made a huge impact on, I think, the type of person I am. And I was such everybody loved Luke Skywalker, and I was such a fan of the villains, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers, dude. Those guys had the coolest outfits, the coolest uniforms. Oh, they're so cool.
You don't see anyone making a Luke Skywalker hot rod, am I right?
Well, people have tried, man. It just doesn't work. They all try to do it as a land speeder, and it always looks lame. I mean, even the land speeder itself, I remember going,
Yeah.
it's not a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
Right? There are cooler ships for sure.
There are cooler ships.
Now, now here's a question. Have you ever drawn any Star Wars vehicles? Like you talk about the land speeder, but like I'm looking at your art style behind you, and I'm thinking that art style with like an AT-AT or like an Imperial Star Destroyer would be pretty. Maybe I don't know, man. That sounds pretty rad to me.
Yeah,
even like an X-wing, like a crunched up, slaunched forwards X-wing with just like bigger like blasters on the thing. Like it would look
Rob,
so cool.
I think it's time for a Banthamilk hot rod patronage. I think we need to go ahead and get Johnny
collaboration.
Jalopy. That's right.
Yeah, collaboration.
A collab.
I'm down.
There it is. That's it. We'll be in touch, my friend, for sure.
For sure, man. Let's do this.
Man,
that'd be so cool. Very, very cool. I was even thinking.
I really haven't drawn any of the vehicles, and I'm a big fan of all of the different ones. There are just so many cool ships and stuff. I don't know why I haven't done it. Every time I'll tell you, every time I think about doing it, I'll look and like 5 or 6 artists start doing it. I'm like, damn it.
Right.
I don't want them to think. It always works out for me that way.
sure.
Yeah, you're like, I don't want to copy somebody else. So then you're like,
then they'll go, you're just doing it because everybody's doing Star Wars right now. I'm like, no, I didn't want to. Like this thing, when I did that, I was like, I never do anything on May the 4th. I'll just go ahead and do it.
Well, we're glad you did.
Well, it's awesome. It's really funny. As you were drawing that, I was like, oh, he's just drawing like the Darth Vader Hot Wheels. And so then I'm like Googling and I'm looking up the Darth Vader Hot Wheels, and I was like, oh no, like in my eyes, that was the Darth Vader Hot Wheels. Like it was so cool that I was like, you're totally like drawing like your own version of a Hot Wheels car, but it wasn't. The Darth Vader Hot Wheels car is lame compared to yours. I'm giving you mad credit there.
Well, thanks so much. My idea was, what if back in 77, not now, because when they did the current Darth Vader cars now, right? Or recently. Yeah. What if back in 77, Lucas and the whole guys, they went to Barris or Ed Roth, the best customizer of the times, and said, hey man, build us a show car that we can put out in front of the theaters. And what would that look like?
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
The body shape or the frame shape is off of, if you can go, and I was open about it even on Sketchy Live. I took the shaping in the frame off the old Red Baron Hot Wheel.
Yeah, I did notice you mentioned. I even looked it up, and it does have that dome sort of head thing.
Right, it's got the German helmet, and I was okay, so what if they took that German helmet away, and the idea of that went away, and there was no Red Baron car, but there was the Darth Vader car.
Yes,
that's what it would look like.
Yep, and then you could take it to the next level to the Spaceballs car, where the eyes were like pops up, and that's where you would climb into.
For sure.
And then bring that back down there. So it'd be like,
now that is a greatly missing thing from the world, is a Spaceballs hot rod.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, right?
The Winnebago,
the Dark Mobile.
Yeah,
the Winnebago. That would be
a hot rod version of the Winnebago would be really sweet.
That would be a heck of a challenge. A hot rod Winnebago.
For sure. It would be fun though. I might have to do that.
For the challenge. That's right.
A little snarf in there. Yeah, for sure.
Jumping around just a little bit after, so I know we're there's no flow to this whatsoever.
As long as you need me.
You're the man. Thank you. The 3 cars that you did with Ian. So the first one, it went to that guy in Canada, the Johnny 5. Ian's work, it's got to be like you can tell he puts hours, weeks, months into his stuff. Like, how long did it take him to make that Johnny 5? Do you know?
Start to finish, I want to say it was about 3.5, maybe 4 months.
Okay.
That's
and then
incredible. I mean, that's
it's amazing.
Yeah,
It is. It's so cool. And Nick, you got to watch the show because
yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to get this on my list.
just when you see him take the VW bus and he's like, no, we're gonna move it back here, and then when you look at your drawing and how close it is to the drawing, you're like, there's no way somebody can make a real car of these awesome cartoon drawings, but he totally turns them into like real cars. I was like, oh my gosh. And then the bubble top car that you sat in, it obviously, like, that car, I'm sure it's not street legal. Like, it can't, is it street legal? No, okay. Because you're like laying in that backwards.
Yes.
And I'm watching you drive around the parking lot, and I would have been doing the same thing because the controls were so all just hand controls. Like, there was the speedometer was no pedals. There was, like a motorcycle speedo thing, and then you got the little steering wheel there. But yeah, it looks like you don't want to go more than 5 miles an hour because you're just afraid that if you go any faster than that you're just going to completely lose control.
So
it's as long as a regular vintage dragster of that time, the length of it, and there are no foot controls. It is a throttle from a motorcycle that does the gas, and then you push the lever forward to brake. So my thought is
to pull back.
What if I forget and I pull back to do? I'm thinking airplanes, and I'm like, I'm going to be the guy that wrecks this car. We haven't finished filming the reveal yet.
Right. And how long did that one take? That was months also?
That was
right?
another probably 4 or 5 months to build that one.
And he tore apart his old car to make that car.
So that car, so the chassis portion was already finished from the old car. What's really cool is as soon as we got done with the Johnny 5, 3 weeks later, he sends me a picture of a quarter panel that became the fin in the back. He sends me a picture of the bubble.
Okay.
And he sends me the picture of the chassis by itself with the car body off. And he goes, hey, man, let's do this again. Figure something out.
That's so cool.
I did probably in my little stash of sketches, I've got some preliminary ideas that I drew, and none of those were used. They were some of the ideas I pulled from those to make the one that we made on the show.
Okay,
cool. So
That's cool.
we still designed and built that car, right as it's shown on TV. The way the ideas came and stuff. It was really cool.
And then the same thing with the last car that you guys drew together. He grabbed the body and then said he wanted you to draw something, and then he customized it from there.
Yeah.
And then I loved watching your expression when you're like, dude, this isn't going to work. And he's like, no. He's like, watch this. And he just cut like the camper top part when he cut it in half. And you're like, no, man. And he's like, no. And just like starts hacking away. And you're like, dude, I would have thought this out. And he's just like, nope, let's just go for it. So
he's shown me, and it unfortunately hasn't taken as good as I'd have liked it to, but where you just go for it. He's like, it's metal or it's fiberglass. If we mess it up, we'll fix it. It's not a big deal. So the cool thing is, like with the Johnny 5, is that was the first car that he had ever done where he's stuck to making it exactly like the drawing. Supposedly, according to the producer that I become friends with as well, Ian has always been like, nah, I'm going to do it my way. People have given him some ideas, or he'd take a little bit from there and there. This was the first car ever he went, no, we're going to do it just like this. And he stuck exactly to it. And that part made me go, holy cow, this is awesome. And that's the way every car we've worked on, it's been exactly how I've drawn it.
Yeah. and I loved watching the way he was like, oh, you drew this. Okay. And then you see the gears in his head trying to figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
And he just comes together, and it's so cool. Watching the two of you guys work together was so cool for me.
It's a fun time. It's a great time.
Totally. That's so cool. I got another question for you. Dave Kending, he's a real jerk, right? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just starting to name everybody on Motor Trend and just make you say that they're all jerks.
You think I can slam them all? Yeah, that Chip Foose guy would have.
He's a hack. Go ahead, say.
No, listen, those guys they're artists. Foose is my guy that I watched and was like, man, he's an amazing artist, and I still just am amazed by what he can do very quickly as well to rendering. Can dig it. That guy. not necessarily my style of customizing different stuff, but he's got a niche, man, and obviously he's doing it right because they're giving him truckloads of money, and he seems to be doing it right.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. But none of his stuff is as crazy and as cartoonish and so cool as yours. Going back to all your drawings, I loved even like the Cannonball Run ambulance that you did. I was like, dude, like these are all like I said, growing up, I'm a huge car guy, although I don't have a 50 Chevy like you do.
You're a Jeep guy. Jeep guys always have their thing.
Yeah, Jeep guys have
I
their
was a
things.
Jeep guy for a long time. I was running a '79 CJ7 for years. Loved my Jeep.
Yeah,
I was like, that's going to be the last car I'm ever going to own. And then I went, I really like an old car. Even though I guess I'm going to get an old car.
Maybe I'll get an old car now instead. Yeah.
It's fun, man. It's a good time.
Yeah. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? Let's get back to what our podcast is supposed to be about.
Wow.
Which is Star Wars.
Favorite Star Wars movie. I feel bad because a lot of the newer ones I'm not a giant fan of.
That's okay. Most people
fair.
are.
A lot of Star Wars fans aren't fans.
Yeah, I really liked Empire, to be honest. I think the progression of how they wrote it and filmed it and the story itself. But I just went back and because I was like, oh man, I haven't watched Star Wars in forever. Do I remember everything? So I watched Star Wars today, and I was like, man, it's such a great film.
It is.
I can
it is
say,
such
and,
a great film.
It's funny because it is tough with the Star Wars films because there's you do watch some parts of A New Hope. Like me and Rob talk often about like the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Vader and how lame it is in A New Hope. Just comparing that like the two old men with sticks.
Sure.
There is some stuff that you just kind of look back on and go, well, that's just the way it was. But as a total picture, man, I can still turn on A New Hope and watch it from start to finish, and it will engross my entire attention.
How do you guys feel about when they went back and changed and added? Do you feel like why did they touch it?
Yes.
So. We've talked about that on this.
If I hit a sports subject,
no, you're fine.
No, you're right.
No, you're right. Now I'm a little younger than Rob here. So I actually kind of started watching Star Wars in like the re-release during the mid '90s. Okay. That's like when they re-released into theaters is when I was really kind of, because my parents didn't really watch Star Wars much, and so some of those change. Like I'm a big, huge fan, but some of those changes aren't that crazy to me because they've just kind of always been around. Now, some of the newer changes, I mean, you talk about like the addition of Hayden Christensen into like the scene at the end of Return of the Jedi, and we have someone in our chat right now talking about the Han shot first controversy, right? Some of it's a little superfluous, but I will say, you look at the re-releases in the mid-'90s and you see all the CGI that Lucas added and you're like, it looks kind of cheesy. But now you look at the new ones, and as much as the new ones have their problems, they did have a return to some of those practical effects, a return to some of those miniatures, some of those actual costuming instead of the CGI that I really like over the prequel trilogy. So with the good comes the bad, with the bad comes the good, I guess.
Yeah, just like the additions that they did, like of course with sound, some of the sound stuff was amazing. That was so good that they changed that. A lot of the laser effects, much needed.
Right.
I guess I just look at that the Jabba the Hutt scene, and it just bothers the shit out of me.
When he
when he walks through the factory, I'm like, I get why we did it. I understand. It totally makes sense. Why, and then you look. Like his hand in front of him, and I'm like, it just, you could have. I guess, but they needed to though, because it didn't make sense.
Right, the fact that there was just a guy there
didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Now here's what I'm terrified about, and I'd love to know what y'all think might happen with this world, constantly evolving world we're in. How many years from now until A New Hope is remade?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm with you.
Right,
for sure.
I'm a little scared about that.
Because there's already movies that are being redone, and I go, leave it alone. I mean, come on. Did we need another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? No, we didn't.
Apparently we did, Johnny.
Do we need a new Red Dawn? Like the original Red Dawn was a classic.
Wolverine.
We did not need a new Red Dawn.
We did not need a new
original
Red
was
Dawn.
Fine. There was
Yes.
nothing wrong with it.
Nothing
Good.
wrong with it. We didn't need another one of those. No, we didn't need another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That was drastically different than the first one.
Yeah. So it worries me. I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't think that I just don't know if I don't think you can do it. I just don't think it can be done right.
Now, as an artist, do you ever look at storyboard art? Like, is that something that you're interested in?
So, yeah, that's funny. Is there's been a few opportunities where people have like even thought of, hey, Johnny, why don't you do like a cartoon or a comic strip or any of those kinds of stuff? And I'm a verbal person. Writing stuff down is not my strong suit. Like
Sure.
if I had someone who could dictate something, it might be a little easier. But a lot of my art tells a story in one shot.
Sure.
You know, a lot
Sure.
of my drawings are telling a story with one scene. And every time I try to do it just doesn't. I can't connect with my brain.
Yeah, you're not composing a narrative. You're giving the story in one shot.
Correct. Yeah, there's
that
a
is
lot of
great
stuff
thing
going
about
on sometimes in one little drawing. If you
Yeah.
look at it, there's things going on. But
Yeah.
so it makes it tough. I've lost some opportunities to probably work in things that would have been a dream to do, but it just doesn't. I wouldn't want to take the job and knowing I it's not going to be able to do it.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, when you
Makes
find your
perfect sense.
wheelhouse, you swing at the pitches that are right in there, and look behind you, man. You're swinging away, and you're killing it. And you
Yeah,
get home runs
I
every
try
time.
to challenge myself to do other stuff. I mean, but yeah, that's just one of those areas that I just can't seem to connect the dots in a way that makes me happy with the end result. So, but but as far as to answer your question, I love looking at other people draw storyboard. I love watching people do comic strip. I love a lot of like DC and Marvel comics and watching guys create that stuff. And a lot of the artists that are in those realms just love that art. I look at all the old original artwork for Star Wars and stuff. It's just phenomenal.
Ralph McQuarrie, is that who that is?
I believe so. Yeah, just
Yeah.
phenomenal pieces of artwork, just capturing light and feeling and emotion in just one still is just amazing.
It's very cool. Have you watched? I know you're not a fan of the newer movies, but have you watched any of the new, like the Mandalorian stuff? Or
I don't have. It's horrible. I don't have Disney Plus, so I can't watch Mandalorian. I've been bummed because Boba Fett is. That was another one of the guys. I was like, he's got the coolest costume.
Oh,
Yep.
man, a Boba Fett hot rod.
He's so
Man,
cool. So I was
yeah.
like, even the way, if you go back to Empire, the way he loaded up Han Solo, get him in the thing, and it was just a badass dude. And I was like, man, Boba Fett's cool as shit. And I actually did an airbrush art piece I got a free tattoo that way
Nice.
for a tattoo artist, and I gave it to him because I was a huge fan of it too. He was a big Boba Fett fan. So I did a big of the helmet sitting in the dark with light hitting it. It came out sweet. But I'm jonesing to see what this is all about because I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Let me tell you, my friend, if you are a fan of Boba Fett, and I don't know how you could not be, you got to watch it. It takes all of our childhood dreams of Boba Fett and everything we ever wanted him to be, and it gives us that and more.
I gotta figure a way. I'm gonna have to find a way to bootleg it. No, I'm just kidding.
well, Nick,
Disney, he's just
Teasing.
joking. I promise.
yeah, he's just joking. But Nick's going to give you his Nick's going to give you
My
his
Disney
Disney
Plus
Plus account and password
Nice.
at the end of the
Yeah,
show.
no,
So there you
nobody
go.
does that.
Nobody
kidding.
does that. Nobody
shares
shares
it.
those things.
Yeah. All my kids don't have every one of my Netflix accounts. Yeah.
That's right, exactly. So you're gonna have to before December because there's the whole Book of Boba is a whole going to be series of just Boba Fett coming out in December. Yeah. So you're definitely going to have to.
The Last Jedi, where I did watch that. That was pretty. I mean, I liked the way it was shot, and I really, I was bummed that people had to die off, but
yeah.
And of course, losing Carrie Fisher sucked because then that really shut what I was hoping was going to happen. That they were really going to continue the older cast and tell stories about them.
Sure. Yeah.
When that happened, it really kind of definitely derailed all that happening.
Yeah, they definitely changed. They had to change the script up because of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great the way they were able to use technology to definitely finish the film and make her a part of it and stuff like that. I think they did a great job of it, but yeah, I'd hate to think of another film where they'd CGI the whole cast.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But they have the technology to do it. That's what's amazing.
I know.
They could do it really if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Well,
we
they
don't even
did,
need actors anymore, right? We'll just put their faces on later.
So even in, not to spoiler alert for you, but in the Mandalorian, there is a Luke Skywalker presence in the Mandalorian series, and it's Luke Skywalker playing himself, but they totally CGI'd him to be a younger Luke Skywalker. They de-aged him. They made him the appropriate age for the time of the Mandalorian. So
Mark Hamill did all the acting of it.
Mark Hamill did all the acting
of it. They CGI'd him.
Yeah.
I bet he's got to go. Really, guys?
Yeah.
I know I'm old.
But come on.
Is this a compliment to my acting, or is it how bad I look as an older man?
So they totally de-aged him by 30 years.
Well, he's got a face for cartoons now. That's why.
That's right.
Oh my gosh! Well, the Joker, he was awesome as the Joker.
Yeah,
in the
amazing as the Joker, for sure.
Yeah. So there was a couple people in the chat who have thrown some things out there. One,
yeah, for sure.
One person said that you got to do a speeder bike. Drawing of a speeder bike would look really
that would
cool.
be cool. One for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna take some notes. Speeder bike on the list.
And I even thought. Now, you haven't watched The Mandalorian, but I'm sure you've been surrounded by this little character they call Baby Yoda.
Yes.
Yes. We call him Norman. So I want you to, tell all your friends to call him Norman from now on.
Norman, you got it.
You got it from our podcast here. But yeah, he needs a car. Baby Yoda definitely needs a car. And then, so they were talking about how the Star Wars universe, when Nick said, do you think they're going to reboot A New Hope? And they said the Star Wars universe is not going to be rebooted. So
let's hope.
Let's hope. Yeah, so let's hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, dollar bills, that's the only problem is as much as you hope it doesn't happen, but from a production and a company standpoint, filmmaking, they know how to make money.
Johnny, do you really think that Disney would do that just to make money? Come on now.
No, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't tear down parts of a park and rebuild a pseudo Star Wars land. They wouldn't do that either.
Never.
They wouldn't do that at all. No,
they're not going to have people walking around in costumes to make it feel realistic and stuff to sell more tickets. No, not at all.
They wouldn't.
Mouse.
No, they wouldn't force the cast members to speak in all Star Wars. Like, you can't use cash. You have to use credits when you go to that part of the land. They wouldn't do things like that.
I want so bad to go there to see it. I heard the California version is amazing, and I haven't been to the Florida one yet. So,
well, you're kind of close. You're closer than we are anyway. From Disney?
We're about an hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
You're about as close to Disney as we are from New York City. So there you go.
Well, the problem is my wife is like, I'm not walking around all day in a mask.
I understand.
I get it. Especially in Florida's what, like 85 degrees right now? That's got to be incredible. Yeah. Like I said, I lived in Louisiana for 3 years. I can't imagine walking around outside Louisiana in a mask in this weather.
It's bad enough no mask.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Man, it's been so cool talking to you, Johnny. We're probably got to wrap up a little bit here, but just like, first of all, anyone listening right now, you need to go to johnnyjalopy.com, check out some of Johnny's artwork. Go to instagram.com/johnnyjalopy, facebook.com/johnnyjalopy. I believe, right? I think that's what that. Either way,
Facebook.
Search him up on Johnny Jalopy. You can check out all his artwork. You can purchase a whole bunch of different prints on his website. That Star Wars print right behind him.
We got merch, hats.
Yes, check out. He's got the hats. Rob is sporting one of his hats right now.
And he'll autograph it for you if you ask him to.
I got stickers.
Right. Oh, he's got stickers. Yeah, Johnny Jalopy, check him out. He is a friend of the podcast.
All about creating merch, man.
There you go. Love it. Love all the merch. And the Sketchy Lives every Monday night.
Every Monday, 9:30 Eastern time. Come hang out, man. It's a good time. We have people from all over the world, which is amazing. I can't even believe it. We got a regular from France. We got regulars from Australia. People from Brazil. All over the world are coming. We just had a guy from Russia popped in.
So cool.
It's amazing. So
and ADB will read almost anything you say too, which is awesome.
Almost anything.
That's right.
She's learned. 4 years now we've been doing it, which is crazy to think. We've been doing it for 4 years now. And she's a seasoned pro, man. She knows. She'll go, oh, not reading that.
Not reading that one. Moving on. All right.
That's great.
Nick, nope. We're not going to say anything that you say, Nick. We're going to go on to what does Rob have to say. So I think it's so cool, Johnny. You did to Ian Roussel what I did to you. You were like, oh, my God, this guy's totally awesome. I'm going to try and be friends with him on Facebook. And then, unfortunately, Ian friended you first, which is even cooler.
Yeah,
I was like, I saw Johnny Jalopy on TV, and I was like, I need to talk to this guy. He's wearing a Star Wars shirt. He loves old cars. He's my type of guy. And then here we are chatting it up with the one and only Johnny Jalopy, which was awesome.
Man, I sure appreciate it, guys. And I hope we can become friends more than just on Zoom, man. So
yeah, I agree.
If you're in the area, hit me up, and we'll be heading to Jersey actually next month. So maybe we can stop by and say hey to you guys.
Hey, we'll be
love
here.
It. Absolutely. Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere. Nick has a restaurant in LBI. His family owns a restaurant.
LBI.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So if you go up to Tom's River, it's not that far.
When we get ready to travel out, man, I'll definitely give you guys a shout. We'll have to hook up.
Awesome.
Cool.
Please do. That'd be awesome. We'll grab a drink. We'll grab some pancakes. It'll be a good time, my friend.
Oh my God. Hell yeah.
All right, Johnny Jalopy. Check out his artwork, johnnyjalopy.com. Thank you so much for joining us, Johnny. You've been an absolute pleasure, my friend.
We have a little bit of Star Wars news. If you want to stick around till the very end, you're more than welcome. Or you can even skip out now if you want to. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Well, hey, I'd like to. If you're cool, I'd like to listen to your news, man. I'm in for the long haul.
You got it, dude. That's awesome.
Rob is, I'm sure, already with our queued up news segment. So let's hit into some Star Wars news, Rob.
Let's do that. We're gonna get some Star Wars news. Star Wars news. Awesome. There's our little zinger for Star Wars news.
Our buddy Brian made us all sorts of segue music and intro music. Another shout out to Brian. Thank you for that, our friend. What do we got for news this week, Rob? What's been happening?
Okay, so I have a couple little things. One, very important, Hasbro talking about just money and just trying to do anything they can to make money. They made a new Baby Yoda, which will eat food and drink slop like it does in the movies. So
see, now this is what you're missing, Johnny, by not having Disney Plus. You're missing all this Baby Yoda goodness.
I'm so bummed right now.
I have a regular normal Baby Yoda doll back there, but if you don't want just a normal Baby Yoda doll, if you want one that will actually eat cookies,
can you
Hasbro's
imagine
coming out with it for you?
Wasting your money on a Baby Yoda doll that doesn't eat cookies? Like, what did you throw your money at, Rob?
I should have held out. I should have held out for the Hasbro doll that eats cookies.
Look at you buying first gen Baby Yodas.
Right?
Right? Oh, man. I thought it was going to go up on eBay. And
you got to get that Retina display Baby Yoda. All right?
Yeah.
Come on now.
And this one, Johnny, this is especially for you, Johnny. Disney Plus is going to go up $1 a month starting next month. So you got to get your subscription now before it goes up $1 a month.
Are people who already have it, are they going to be grandfathered into the old price, or is everyone getting...
Yes, people who have it, people who already paid for the year subscription or whatever the case is, you'll be fine. But any new subscriptions or anything like that, it will be $1 more. So it's going to go up to $7.99 a month instead of $6.99 a month. And on top of it, this... Disney, I love the fact that, it kind of makes sense. I can't even get it out because I'm so I want to agree with them, but at the same time, I want to disagree with them. So you already pay for Disney Plus, but then they have these bonus movies that if you want to watch this bonus movie, you have to pay $30 more just to watch this bonus movie.
Right, like the Mulan movie, right?
They did it first with Mulan. So if you wanted to watch it when it came out, it was $30. Now, I understand because... If the movie theaters were open,
I don't understand.
Me and my two kids, I take my two kids to the movie theater. We're dropping more than $30 to go to the movie theater.
But also, you're watching it on a giant screen. You're given the opportunity to get popcorn. I don't know. It just seems like a cash grab. They're already winning the streaming wars.
Hey, I got a solution. So what if Disney with every $30, was it $30?
$30 for the extra movies.
That's a great idea, Disney. Every $30, you send that person a 78-inch LCD screen,
right,
or more, theater style seating.
Uh-huh.
Where they set your lounge up.
Yes.
And then you pay the $30 subscription.
Right. So then you feel like you're in the movie theater. Yeah. Then I'll pay the $30 because I'll feel like I'm actually in the movie theater.
That's right.
I want sticky floors.
Right.
Sticky floors are a must. I need gum under the seats.
I want a seat that doesn't recline all the way back.
Yeah,
I need a couple 16-year-olds in the back making out, bugging me,
and a 12-year-old kicking your chair because you're leaned back and he keeps kicking your chair. Yeah,
take my credit card now. I will do it.
I will do. Yes. So there are 2 new movies coming out. The Black Widow and Cruella movie both of those are going to be on that extra $30 each on top of the extra $1 a month, and to top it all off, Disney Plus. 100 million subscribers.
So that extra $1 in their subscription will net them an extra $100 million a month.
A month, yes.
This is where you're supposed to push the sound button that goes ching.
Exactly.
We are in the wrong business. Why didn't we get into the giant global mouse empire business, Rob?
I know, we should have. We should have been in the 50s decided to make a giant theme park out of little trains, and then boom, we could have been multi-billionaires now.
You lose.
Yep, we should have thought ahead. Star Wars prequels will be rewritten, kind of. So I read an article, and that's the headline: Star Wars prequels will be rewritten. And then once you read into it,
of course,
they're not rewriting the Star Wars prequels, but with all of the new TV shows, Disney Star Wars movies and shows and stuff that are coming out, they're going to be explaining things that may have been holes in the original prequel storylines.
Okay.
So they may change it and give you more details in all the new movies. But, of course, the clickbait was Star Wars prequels will be rewritten. So you're like, what? But no. So, yeah. So that's coming out soon. And
so it's going to be an explanation of Jar Jar Binks? Or
the greatest. Oh, speaking of, we'll talk about that in just a second. Nick and I did for March Madness. We have our own March Bracket Madness, and we ranked 64 Star Wars characters, and then we're up to the round of the Sweet 16 round is
right now.
Voting right now. So Johnny, we'll send you in your email. I'll send you an email so that you can vote for the Sweet 16. But Jar Jar Binks was in there, and surprisingly, he lost in the first round.
First round. Who did he lose?
First round. Yeah, I don't remember. It could have been anybody.
To go the whole distance. I mean, solid character. Comedic, funny.
Listen,
vital
Johnny,
to the.
I don't want to tread too highly on these sensitive topics here, but if you go to our YouTube, I did a whole video on why the possibility of Darth Jar Jar isn't so crazy, right? So if you want to really don your tinfoil hat, you can head to our YouTube channel and check out my tinfoil hat theory there. We're a big fan of the crappy.
All right, guys, I gotta go check this Jar Jar Binks Vader thing. I'll be back.
That's it. I'm out of here. Oh man, a Jar Jar Binks. A Darth Jar Jar hot rod. Now we've got something cooking.
Oh,
there you go. You got to have the floppy ears. That as it's going, the floppy ears have to be going behind them in the wind. Yeah, that would just be a complete waste of 2 hours of your life right there, Johnny. Yes. Just like trying to draw that.
Oh, it's Jar Jar Binks.
In our chat, by the way, they said you can rent a movie theater for $99. AMC has this really cool deal. You can rent out a theater because, with COVID, everything being shut down and stuff. So for $99, you can rent out and get the real feel of a movie theater. Now, I don't know what movies you can see in there at that time. They just don't have their entire library open. But if you want to feel the sticky carpet again and all that stuff, you and 20 friends can go and rent out a movie theater for $99.
I miss going to the movie theater.
So do I.
There's nothing like watching a movie in a movie theater.
I got to tell you, I hate it.
Home theater's great. You don't like it?
I love it. I'm with you, Johnny.
The theater has been getting better because my biggest anxiety with going to the movie theater was 1, dealing with finding a seat, and 2, dealing with other people. Now, movie theaters have been evolving, and so if we're talking about a movie theater where you reserve your seat and it's one of those, then I'm fine. But I hate I hated having to like worry, especially like when the new Star Wars were coming out and I'd have to get there a couple hours early because I wanted to get a good seat. Like
Yeah.
now it's
That was
like,
the best
I know that my chair is waiting for me. I don't have to stress about getting one.
Listen, son, back in my day, we
Back
built
in
the
my
theater
day.
from bricks.
So
We
my
had to
favorite
walk
thing,
uphill to the theater.
both ways. My favorite part of like, we would always go on like the Thursday, like when the movie started coming out on Thursdays. I would always try and get tickets on Thursdays. One of our friends who's on the show quite frequently, Tom and I, we would always go to a Thursday night showing, but we would get like the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock showing on a Thursday. So there wasn't anybody waiting when we got there. But when we're leaving, there's a line of
Everyone's
people waiting
waiting,
for the 9 o'clock show or whatever. So we would always walk out talking real loudly about something that could have happened in the movie, but didn't happen in the movie.
You're one of
Yeah.
those guys.
You know,
Oh my
we're
God,
like,
I am that guy.
yeah, we would be like, oh my God, can you believe Chewbacca died? Like, I'm like, what? And
Meanwhile,
the people in line
I'm the
are
guy waiting in line with headphones on with music blasting going, I know there's some jackass who's just talking about the movie right now.
Or who walked out and goes, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And
more
then
news,
my
Rob?
I have one more news, and this is an old one, but it's pretty cool. It just showed up in the feed. But going back to the 1977 Star Wars, the 1977 Star Wars almost started a real war. They filmed the sand scenes in
Tunisia.
In Tunisia, yes. So there was a giant sand crawler that they had in Tunisia, and it was real close to the border of Libya. And matters reached high intensity when Libya made a demand that Tunisia immediately cease its provocative deployment of a massive military vehicle near the border. So Gaddafi warned that the conflict was inexcusable if Tunisia did not comply with his demands at once. So he thought that the giant sandcrawler was a real military vehicle, and they were about to invade Libya. So
I would love
yes.
to see just a giant vehicle full of Jawas start invading Libya and just see how the world would react.
right,
Let's see the
all
news
these
coverage.
little guys with glowing eyes are just coming out with these rifles that didn't even shoot anything, and they're just like, bad about it. So that's it for my news. Nick, do you have anything else to add or no?
It has been a very remarkably slow Star Wars news week for me. I haven't heard a whole lot. I've actually been doing more in the way of the other nerdly news because Rob is playing the music. Rob is playing
you
me
off. I played you off there.
Well, they're giving. I guess I'll see you later. No, there's loads of nerd news out there. So far as like, we did have the Justice League Snyder cut come out this week that I watched. My wife's buddy Ray Fisher was in it. It's a great. I thought it was a great film. I didn't see the original one because I was told not to. But you should check that out if you have 4 hours to spare and you have HBO Max. But that's about all the nerd news we have. I mean, it's been a pretty slow nerd week, but we're just so happy to have our buddy Johnny on board. It's been a great hour. This has flown by. It's been an hour and 15 minutes. It's one of our longer shows in a while, but it's just been nice to chat about your artwork and about your process and talk a little more nerd stuff with a fellow nerd and musician, right? So thanks for being on, man. Or not musician, artist. I'm sorry, I'm a
artist.
musician.
He's an artist. You're the musician.
But I do see a guitar back there.
I play a little guitar as well too.
All right,
there you go,
man.
I haven't picked it up in quite a few years, but for a while I was heavy into that.
Nice,
on, brother.
Very cool.
All
Well,
right.
I think as an artist, you can just pick up anything, a guitar, you start getting into that as the same way that you do with your drawing and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And the Return of the Jedi lunchbox, is that vintage?
Yes,
Over your
dude,
shoulder?
this is legit.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Thermos manufacturer.
Wow. Does it have the thermos
and
inside?
you have the thermos
man.
Wow.
Wow.
Star
that
Wars.
that is
Check this
OG.
out.
That is
Check
legit.
this
Yes.
out. This was back when they were giving away promotional.
Wow.
Oh, very cool. Holy cow.
That is
look at
absolutely killer, man.
And then these had little sugar candies in them.
All
Oh,
right.
no way. That's so cool. Very, very cool.
Darth Vader and Chewbacca. I'm trying to remember. Whoop, as it hits the ground.
That's
Yeah,
how
you
the
can't
candy
even
comes
read.
out.
The first ingredient is sugar.
That's how you know it's good.
That's good stuff then. That's awesome.
yeah.
Rock on, man.
Well, very cool. Very cool that you have that vintage Return of the Jedi with the thermos
man.
still. I had
Yes,
a
indeed.
couple of Star Wars lunch boxes when I was a kid, but thermoses disappeared real quickly afterwards. So that is totally awesome.
My brother was an even bigger Star Wars nerd fan. He had every single Hasbro, every toy that was. He had. That's all he never went outside. He played all inside all the time. He's my 4 years younger brother, and he had everything.
That's awesome.
Just nuts. And then he gave it to his to our nephew, and our nephew put it in the garage. And within 3 months, all of it was destroyed.
No, that's
I
upsetting.
cried. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
He had no clue what that was, what
No
that could have
clue.
been
He had
worth.
no
Yeah.
clue. He just thought they were toys.
They were just toys.
Well, they were. They're toys. but-
Yeah. Yeah, but to
They're
some
never
people, those
just
toys are-
toys, are they?
Yeah.
Are they ever
That's right.
just toys?
My brother had this hope that he was going to retire with the money he would make by keeping them pristine,
Not
and he
so
did
much.
it. I really was shocked when he gave them to him. Like, man, you held out for years.
Yeah.
Like, he was 20. He was 23 when he gave them up, and I was like, I can't believe you did that. And he's like, well, what am I going to do with them now? I'm like, keep them.
Keep them. Yeah.
Same thing
Yeah.
you've been doing to them for years, my friend.
You held out this long. I can't
Yeah, you
imagine
kept
how
them this
it worked
long.
out.
Oh, boy. All right, folks. Johnny Jalopy on with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Johnny. It has been an absolute pleasure. Please check him out at johnnyjalopy.com. Buy a print of his. When you buy the print, tell him that Banthamilk sent you, and
Yeah.
you won't get any perks, but it'll still be cool for him to see that.
Who's to say? You never know. If they say it, they may get some perks.
You never
Whoa,
know,
look
man.
at that.
The man is here, so there you have it, right? So go
You
check
heard
out
it
some
right
of those
from the
works.
man's mouth.
I know there's a pretty darn good chance I'm going to be going on there and getting one of those prints for my house pretty soon. So we're so happy to have you. Please check him out there. Check us out on Facebook. You have the opportunity to go ahead and vote in our Sweet 16. Facebook.com/groups/Sacred Jedi Texts, right? If you want to join us and chat with us on Facebook and talk all things Star Wars. Check us out on Instagram at Banthamilk Podcast, Twitter at Banthamilk, Facebook at Banthamilk Podcast. Email us, banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com, or go to our website, banthamilkpodcast.com. Rob, anything else you have for us before we take this out?
I don't think so. I think just a giant thank you to Johnny Jalopy for hanging with us and
Thank you,
chatting it
guys.
up for so long.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Johnny, and
Good
for
luck
all
with
of
that-
us
Good luck with
here.
that milk drink.
Oh, listen, I'm
Yeah.
almost done, man. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. And from all of us at Banthamilk headquarters, including Johnny Jalopy,